Payday 3 is the latest entry in the infamous, co-operative, fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping heisting franchise. Join me as I dive into Payday 3's various mechanics, unraveling its gripping gameplay, and uncovering what sets this latest installment apart from its predecessors. Rest assured, I'll help you decide if Payday 3 is truly worth those hard-earned good boy points.
Joker is fucking done!
Ride the fucking zapper! Push up behind the ship! Brian's gonna get robbed!
If you're new to the Payday franchise, these games are cooperative first-person shooters that allow for you and up to 3 friends to embark upon various heists or criminal escapades. These capers can range from the more modest, like breaking into small jewelry stores, to the audacious, such as fending off waves upon waves of increasingly lethal law enforcement whilst drilling into the vault of a bank. People familiar with Payday 2 may remember that some of the heists started to get a little ridiculous during its extensive post-launch support, such as the one that required players to break into the White House and steal presidential pardons. However, fans who thought Payday 2 went a bit too over the top will be happy to hear that Payday 3's initial selection of heists returned to a more grounded and realistic approach. At launch, players have the opportunity to tackle 8 different heists, with 7 of them offering the flexibility to be completed either stealthily or with guns blazing, while 1 is exclusively a loud affair. Each heist will play out slightly different depending on the chosen approach, with minor variations in objectives between stealth and loud runs. The locations of specific objectives can also slightly differ from raid to raid, although not quite as wildly as its predecessor. The whole heist process has also undergone a bit of a revamp, with players now being able to perform a wider variety of actions before masking up and bringing the guns to bear, which can be incredibly beneficial in certain situations. You can also spend money on favours, which come in the form of generic equipment drops, whilst some heists have specific special favours, but these are a bit confusing as there's no unlock criteria and they seem to just randomly appear in your favour inventory. Multiplayer lobbies are also lacking any way of declaring whether you intend to tackle a heist stealthily or loud, and the lobbies are also lacking the visual pre-planning screen that was found in Payday 2. Hopefully both of these issues are addressed soon, as they are critical quality of life features that should have been included at release. As far as heist variety goes, I'd like to see heists that make use of larger play spaces whilst maintaining the gritty and realistic feel, something akin to Heat Street from the original Payday game, which involved players traversing through multiple city blocks. Instead, all of the existing Payday 3 heists feel kind of cramped by comparison. With Payday 3's shift to the Unreal Engine, almost everything regarding the minute-to-minute gameplay has taken a notable step forward. The player characters now have weight behind them, and movement feels tight and precise compared to Payday 2's floaty and almost dreamlike locomotion. The gunplay has also received major improvements, with weapons now feeling weighty, punchy, and aggressive, whilst being mechanically distinct from one another. Weapon attachments have also been streamlined, and each weapon now has a much smaller pool to choose from, with each one offering specific bonuses and trade-offs. Unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. If you are a fan of Payday 2's detailed weapon statistics, you might be a bit disappointed, as Payday 3 has replaced these with some rather vague bars that don't offer much clarity on what they represent. This change has left some players scratching their heads, as it's undeniably less informative than what we had in the previous game. Concealment is also entirely absent, meaning every weapon is viable in stealth runs provided it has a suppressor attached, but this also removes some of the fun of coming up with all sorts of crazy contraptions and removes some of the experimentation that existed previously. Overall though, the improvements to the shooting mechanics are enough to make up for the lack of some legacy features. The progression system has also been completely overhauled this time around, resulting in mixed feelings amongst fans. In the past, your overall level was tied to the money you earned, but now it's based on completing challenges. However, the challenges themselves are a bit underwhelming. They tend to be quite generic and uninspiring, pushing players towards a more aggressive approach in heists, as they often involve killing a certain number of enemies with specific weapons or in specific situations. This change, combined with the fact that money is now less critical, has created an unusual situation where players prioritize racking up kills over completing objectives, which can be frustrating, especially when teaming up with random players online. This shift towards a kill more, cooperate less mentality feels completely antithetical to the teamwork-focused ethos of Payday. Skill trees have also undergone some significant changes, and they're now simpler and easier to understand compared to the previous game. However, this simplicity does come at a cost, as some gameplay features have been trimmed down. For instance, in Payday 2, you could specialise in a skill tree that allowed you to use explosive devices to bypass obstacles during heists, but in Payday 3, that specific mechanic or equipment doesn't exist. Instead, the skill trees mainly concentrate on improving the equipment you already have, rather than unlocking entirely new equipment. It's not all doom and gloom though, as the developers have stated that they're aware of how many people dislike all of these changes, and have mentioned that they're working on overhauling the progression system, and that they'd expand upon the skill trees in future updates. So, overall, Payday 3 takes one giant leap forward in terms of gunplay, but seems to take multiple steps back in terms of nearly everything else. Important features that were present in previous installments are absent, and the game seems to put less emphasis on the heisting aspects and more emphasis on shooting things, and the game definitely could have done with a couple more months in development to rethink some bizarre design decisions. This is, however, a live service game, and Payday 3 has set the groundwork for what could be an absolutely fantastic game with a few tweaks here and there. Hopefully the developers take all the feedback seriously and are able to turn an arguably disastrous launch into something great. Thank you so much to Starbreeze Studios and Deep Silver for providing access to their game, and a huge thank you to you, the viewer, for listening to me waffle on about video games. See you next time.